Are you secretly struggling? On the surface, everything seems fine. You're meeting deadlines, maintaining relationships, maybe even excelling in your career or studies. You check all the boxes of a normal, functioning adult. But beneath that carefully constructed exterior, does something feel off? Is there a persistent hum of emptiness? A quiet exhaustion that never quite leaves, no matter how much sleep you get? You might dismiss it as stress, burnout, or just having a bad week that somehow stretches into months. What if it's something more? What if it's high-functioning depression, a subtle yet pervasive condition that allows you to keep going, keep achieving, while silently eroding your inner world? It's the kind of struggle that doesn't always look like the stereotypical image of depression, the inability to get out of bed. Instead, it wears a mask of productivity and competence, making it incredibly difficult for others, and even yourself, to recognize. Stay with us for the next few minutes because we're going to uncover 6 early signs of this hidden struggle that many people overlook. Recognizing these signs could be the crucial first step towards understanding yourself better and seeking the support you deserve, even when the world thinks you have it all together. Don't click away. What you learn here might just resonate deeper than you expect and offer a new perspective on your own experiences or those of someone you care about. This isn't about labeling. It's about understanding the nuances of the human mind. One of the most insidious signs of high-functioning depression is a relentless inner critic. This isn't just occasional self-doubt. It's a constant nagging voice that tells you you're not good enough, that your achievements are luck, or that you're an imposter about to be found out. Even when you receive praise or accomplish significant goals, that voice finds a way to diminish it. Anyone could have done that, it whispers, or you just got lucky this time. This internal narrative is exhausting and chips away at your self-worth, even if outwardly you project confidence. You might find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others, always feeling like you fall short. This critical voice can become so normalized that you barely notice it consciously anymore. It's just the background noise of your thoughts. It fuels perfectionism, not out of a healthy drive, but out of fear. The fear of confirming the negative beliefs you hold about yourself. You might overwork or overprepare, not for excellence itself, but to silence that critic, even momentarily. This constant battle creates a deep sense of dissatisfaction, regardless of external success. It's like running a marathon with weights tied to your ankles. You're moving forward, yes, but the effort is immense, and the internal cost is high. Recognizing this pattern of harsh self-judgment, distinct from constructive self-reflection, is vital. It's a heavy burden to carry, especially when no one else sees it. Another subtle sign is a pervasive sense of emotional numbness or emptiness, often masked by a facade of normalcy. It's not necessarily intense sadness. Sometimes it's the absence of strong feelings altogether. Things that used to bring you joy, hobbies, spending time with loved ones, celebrating achievements, might now feel muted, distant, or require significant effort to engage with. You go through the motions, perhaps smiling at the right times or offering the expected responses, but internally, you feel disconnected, like you're watching your life happen from behind a glass wall. This isn't laziness or apathy. It's a potential indicator that your emotional reserves are depleted. You might describe it as feeling blah, flat, or simply empty. This emptiness can be confusing because you might still be highly functional, attending social events, performing well at work, but the internal experience is hollow. It can lead to seeking external validation or intense experiences just to feel something, or conversely, withdrawing further to avoid the discomfort of pretending. This lack of emotional resonance makes genuine connection difficult, even with those closest to you, deepening the sense of isolation despite being surrounded by people. It's a quiet suffering, a lack of color in a world that expects you to see in vibrant hues, and it's often dismissed because it doesn't fit the dramatic portrayal of emotional distress. Do you find it almost impossible to truly relax? Is your schedule always packed, moving from one task to the next, keeping yourself constantly occupied? This relentless busyness can be a coping mechanism, a way to outrun uncomfortable thoughts or feelings associated with high-functioning depression. Staying perpetually in motion prevents you from having to confront the underlying emptiness, anxiety, or sadness that might surface in moments of quiet. The idea of having unstructured downtime might even feel anxiety-provoking. You might tell yourself you're just ambitious, driven, or have a lot on your plate, and while that might be true, it's worth examining why you feel compelled to be constantly productive. Is it genuinely fulfilling, or is it a way to avoid stillness? People with high-functioning depression often excel at appearing productive and accomplish precisely because they use activity as a shield. Relaxing activities like reading a book, watching a movie, or simply doing nothing can feel like a waste of time or trigger guilt and restlessness. This isn't about having a strong work ethic. It's about an inability to switch off the doing mode and simply be. This constant state of hyperarousal is mentally and physically draining, contributing to the deep exhaustion often felt, even if you manage to keep up appearances. It's a paradox. You look incredibly active, but you feel incredibly tired on the inside. While severe depression often involves dramatic shifts in sleep and appetite, high-functioning depression can manifest these changes more subtly, making them easier to ignore or attribute to other causes like stress or a busy lifestyle. You might not be sleeping 12 hours a day or suffering from complete insomnia, but perhaps you consistently struggle to fall asleep, wake up multiple times during the night, or wake up feeling unrest no matter how many hours you clocked. Maybe you find yourself sleeping more than usual on weekends trying to catch up, but still feeling fatigued. Similarly, appetite changes might not be extreme weight loss or gain, but rather a persistent lack of interest in food, finding meals feel like a chore, or conversely, consistently overeating or craving specific comfort foods, often sugary or high carb, to manage low mood or energy levels. You might skip meals because you don't have time or aren't hungry, or find yourself mindlessly snacking throughout the day. Because these changes aren't always drastic, you might brush them off. Everyone's tired, you might think, or I've just been stressed so my eating habits are off. However, the persistence of these subtle shifts in your body's fundamental rhythms is key. They are often your body's way of signaling an underlying imbalance or distress, even when your mind is telling you to keep pushing forward. Paying attention to these consistent, albeit minor, disruptions is crucial. Are you finding yourself more easily annoyed or angered than usual? Do small inconveniences or minor mistakes, yours or others, trigger a disproportionately strong reaction? This increased irritability and lowered frustration tolerance can be another veiled sign of high-functioning depression, because you're expending so much energy maintaining your facade of competence and normalcy while battling internal struggles, your emotional reserves become depleted. This leaves you with less capacity to handle everyday stressors. Things you might have previously taken in stride now feel overwhelming or intensely frustrating. You might snap at loved ones, feel impatient with colleagues, or experience internal rage over minor issues like traffic jams or slow internet. Afterwards, you might feel guilty or ashamed of your reactions, further fueling the cycle of self-criticism. This irritability is often misunderstood by both the individual and those around them. It can be mistaken for simple stress, a bad mood, or even a personality trait, being short-tempered. However, when it represents a change from your usual baseline and persists over time, it can indicate that the underlying depression is making it harder to regulate emotions effectively. It's as if your coping resources are stretched so thin that even the smallest additional pressure causes a snap. Recognizing this shift in your emotional reactivity is important, as it points towards a deeper level of strain. When grappling with the hidden weight of high-functioning depression, individuals often turn to coping mechanisms to manage the discomfort, numbness, or anxiety. While these strategies might provide temporary relief, they are often unhealthy in the long run and can mask the underlying issue. This could manifest as regularly drinking more alcohol than intended, perhaps justifying it as winding down after a stressful day. It might involve excessive online shopping, binge-watching television for hours to escape reality, or relying heavily on caffeine or other stimulants to maintain energy levels and productivity. Over-exercising to the point of exhaustion or developing rigid routines around food could also be ways of seeking control or distraction. Even seemingly productive habits like workaholism can become an unhealthy coping mechanism when used to avoid confronting difficult emotions. The key is whether these behaviors are used consistently to numb, escape, or distract from internal pain, rather than genuinely enhancing well-being. Because the person is still functioning, these coping strategies might not raise immediate red flags. Someone might appear to be simply enjoying a glass of wine, staying fit, or being dedicated to their work. However, examining the reliance on these behaviors and their underlying purpose, are they helping you cope, or just helping you avoid, can reveal if they are serving as a crutch for hidden depression. We've explored 6 subtle yet significant signs of high-functioning depression: persistent self-criticism, emotional numbness, constant busyness, changes in sleep or appetite, increased irritability, and reliance on unhealthy coping mechanisms. Perhaps some of these resonated with you, maybe sparking a flicker of recognition in your own experience or in someone you know. It's crucial to remember that experiencing 1 or 2 of these occasionally doesn't automatically mean you have depression. However, if you see a persistent pattern, if these signs feel familiar and have been lingering beneath the surface despite your outward success, it's worth paying attention to. High-functioning depression is valid, it's real, and it's exhausting. You don't have to carry this weight alone, and you don't need to wait until you hit rock bottom to seek support. Recognizing the struggle is the first brave step. Be compassionate with yourself. Functioning highly while feeling low takes immense strength. If this video shed light on something for you, please consider liking it and subscribing for more insights into psychology and self-understanding. More importantly, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below, anonymously if you prefer. You'd be surprised how many others might be feeling the same way. Remember, understanding is power, and seeking help, whether through talking to a trusted friend, family member, or a mental health professional, is a sign of strength, not weakness. Take care of your inner world even when the outer world thinks you're doing just fine.